Okay, so with the final question in the homework, we're looking at a vector path question. These can sometimes be quite tricky. And remember, vector paths are all about journeys, so it's how you get from one place to another, and there's always different options, different ways that we can do that. So this question 8 says, relative to an origin O, M is the midpoint of the line segment AB. Vectors A, B and M represent the directed line segments O to A, O to B and O to M, so OA, OB and OM respectively. So basically, we know these three vectors. We know vector A, we know vector M, and we know vector B, and those are the only three things that we can use. Okay, but we are being asked to get an expression for AB. So AB is this vector here that I'm highlighting in blue. Now, that is the journey from A to B, okay? But we can't go straight from A to B here because we don't know what that vector's called. What we're going to have to do is find another path to get there using the vectors we know, which are vector A, vector M, and vector B, okay? So another way of going from A to B is to go A to O, which is backwards along A, so that is minus A, because remember if you go backwards along a vector it becomes a negative, and then to go from O to B, which is vector B, and we're going along it in the right direction if you like, so we're adding it on. So the journey from A to B, we can go backwards down A, which is minus A, and then we can go along B as normal, which is vector B. So we've got minus A plus B, or another way of writing that would be B minus A, and that's what our answer is in part A. Okay, now part B, we need to find something very similar. Okay, we have to show that O to M is a half of A plus B. Now, O to M is just vector M. Okay, so O to M, so OM, okay, the vector OM is just vector M, okay? But that's not what we've been asked to prove. We've been asked to prove that that's a half of A plus B. So we're going to have to go a different way from O to M rather than that direct route. We're going to have to go on a route that uses A and B. So we've got two options. We could go up here and then down there, and that takes us from O to M. So we'll look at what the answer would be if we choose to do that. Or your other option is you can go along here and then up there, and that would also take us from O to M, and so we'll look at what answer we would get if we choose that way. So let's use the blue route first, sorry guys, if we go O to A and then A to M. If we go O to A and then A to M for OM, we're going O to A is vector A, which is fine, we know that. And then A to M is half of A to B, because M is the midpoint, so it's halfway along AB. So it's half of AB, okay. But in part A, we worked out that AB was B minus A. So we've got A plus a half of B minus A. If we multiply that out, that's going to be A plus a half of B minus a half of A, which is going to be, obviously if we do a bit of tidying up algebra wise, that's going to be A take away a half of A is a half of A plus a half of B, and we can obviously take the half out as a common factor. Okay guys, and that is the answer that we are looking for. And that's one way of doing it. But we had this other route that we said would work as well for OM, if we go O to B and then B to M. Okay, now, if we do it that way, we're going to have OM is vector B, so we're going along here first, okay, and then we're going halfway up BA, okay, halfway up BA. Now, AB was B minus A, so BA will be the negative of that. So it'll be the negative of B minus A, which is just going to be A minus B. Okay. And this pink way is probably a wee bit trickier. The blue way is probably a wee bit easier just because we don't have this negative to deal with. But either way, when we multiply at that bracket, we're getting b plus a half of a minus a half of b. So we're getting a half of a plus a half of b. And just like before, when you take your half out as a common factor, you'll be left with a half of a plus a half of b. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. But if not, let me know and I can go through it with you again. So there's the question in full, guys. Okay, hopefully that helps.